Hey guys, welcome back to the Girlfriends and Goals podcast YouTube channel. My name is Samaria and I'm joined by my best friend and co-host Miosha. And today we're reviewing Married at First Sight season 16, episode 16. But
Hmm.
before we get into that, please make sure you are subscribed to our channel, give this video a thumbs up, and as with every week, comment as much as you would like because we enjoy reading the comments.
Yep.
Right. So we are going to start with them checking in. So this episode was the couples retreat, and they
Hmm.
were in Gatlinburg, Tennessee.
Hmm.
Okay, cool. Look at me remembering stuff. So each couple arrives. I was wondering why Jasmine and and what's the girl chef
Eris.
Kirsten.
Oh,
I was
Kirsten. Yeah.
wondering why Jasmine and Kirsten were driving because listen, I could not be bothered with a steering wheel. I would be knocked out in the passenger seat. So yeah,
And
that's
I
it.
think for me, because we've seen Jasmine catering already to him,
It rubbed you the wrong way.
it really rubbed me the wrong way. You can't drive this woman. I don't know how far the drive is, but I was just I didn't mind it with Kirsten, but with her, absolutely not.
That is hilarious.
I would have made my way right to the passenger seat.
Too funny. But yeah, I thought I was the only one who like noticed it. But I'm like, why are these women the ones driving? Okay, so they get there. I forgot who got there first,
I
but
think Jasmine, I feel like Jasmine and Airris did.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I tweeted about it because I live tweet the show. I'll put our Twitter in the thing. I think it's GF and Goals Pod.
Hmm.
But someone was like, oh, maybe, she just likes driving. Plus, she did such a great job. They got there first. But I still felt a way about, them being the ones who were driving them in.
Yeah.
It's not a big deal or anything, but
Yeah. I think that's our traditional side showing through. It
yeah.
is what it is.
I do like driving. It depends on the city I'm in. So like in the city
Mm.
we live in, especially if you're someone who isn't familiar with it, I do prefer driving because
Oh, yeah.
it just
Because
bothers me. People from out of town driving here, they just don't know
it's
how
the
to get
wild, wild
around.
west where we at.
Exactly. so so that's the only time where I'm like, okay, that's an exception. I will do the driving. But
Yeah.
anyway. Okay,
Yeah.
so they got there. I
Hmm.
think the only memorable thing about their arrivals was that Nicole and Chris were very late.
Yeah. And she was in her feelings. I wonder, she never said why. I don't know if it's because he made them run late or they just ran into traffic. I wanted to know why was she in her feelings about them running so late? Was it something that he did to cause them to be late, or was it if it was just traffic? I'm like, girl, why you in your
But
like?
she didn't want to get the leftover room.
I think their room was fine though because the way it was
She
set
didn't know
up.
that though. Like she was like,
Mm,
we're gonna get the worst room because they all there, and I
yeah.
get that. Also, running late puts me in a bad mood anyway, even if it's traffic, even if
Hmm.
because if it's traffic, then I'm going back and thinking about every single thing that happened that day. Like, okay, he was running a little bit slow out the door. So maybe if he would have gone faster, but that's just me. So I mean, I feel like we've all had a moment like that where it's just like something happens and just puts you in a bad mood.
Hmm.
I like that she acknowledged it and was like, I don't want to bring down the mood. I don't want to mess up the retreat. I mean, her energy was obvious because she's a loud person and, always
Hmm.
over. So it was still obvious, but I at least appreciated that her intention was not to mess up.
Yeah, she tried to cover it up as best she could. She still participated, so
Yeah.
yeah.
I kind of want to talk about them first, though.
Okay, yeah.
Nicole and Chris. Okay, so I think
Hmm.
it started on the drive down where she was talking about, okay, so this whole living situation. And I'm surprised it took her this long. What, 9 days to decision day? I'm surprised it took her this long to bring it up again.
Well, I was a little confused because I thought one of them said that they agreed to extend their lease past decision day.
Yeah, so Chris was pretty much saying he renewed his lease, if I remember
Okay.
correctly. And that's the last time we've heard this conversation was when he renewed it. And it was like, okay, where
Hmm.
do I fit? Like, so we're both gonna have
Oh, so he
separate
only renewed
places.
his.
he renewed his, but then it put her in the position where she was like, okay, so I guess I'll renew mine. Like, are we going to live separately? And then they just
Um,
kind of quieted it down and haven't had that discussion to the viewer's knowledge until now.
so in my mind, if you've renewed, I guess it depends on for how long. Was it 6 months, a year,
Mhm.
3 months? But it must, whatever they did or didn't do, they're in a space where they need to figure out where they're going to live together
Well,
if that's what they both want.
I think what the problem is because he's okay with them living separately. And she's like, that doesn't make sense. Like it's giving Stephen Noy. So well, she didn't say that. I said that.
Hmm.
But yeah, so that's what the problem is. And that was the problem she had in the beginning when the conversation came up. Like, okay, we're married now. I think it'll like be a regression for us to be living separately after living together this whole time. So if we're trying
Hmm.
to stay married, why aren't we trying to figure out where we're gonna live in the same place? So
I want to know what is his hesitation, because his hesitation is making me feel like he's 1 foot in and 1 foot out. He's doing and saying a lot of things that makes it seem that he's all in.
yeah.
But then with this, what is it? And the reasons he's giving of, oh, well, it's going to be hard to find a place. Well, if you know that, then let's put the pen on paper and get right to it. So he's
Yes.
acknowledging that it's going to be a challenge, but him not wanting to put forth the work, his reason is it's the weekend. Okay, that's that one day. Why not the week before? There's something going on with him
Mm,
that's making me feel like he's not all in, or he's getting cold feet, or he wants to kind of be married but date her.
have his cake and eat it too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like it either. That's the biggest red flag for me with this whole thing. And like you said, everything else that he's doing makes me not want to think it's a red flag, but it obviously is. Like, this is your wife. And I think the other excuse that he's giving is, oh, like, especially with the three dogs and the this and the that. It's like, okay, sacrifices need to be made. And what I'm hearing is you're giving me the list of the problems that exist as opposed to offering any solutions to it, any
Hmm.
solutions that both of us could be comfortable with. And so that was my issue with that. And I'm really glad that Nicole brought it up because it's pressing. And she's way better than me because she's like, okay, well, we'll wait until Monday then. And I understand you can't do things until Monday, but can we agree on at least what we plan on doing on Monday so that way when Monday comes, we don't have to have this whole conversation again and we can like just start making like taking the actions that are necessary. So
Mm. I call BS because realtors work on the weekends. I mean,
Kirsten,
that's when most people do their viewing. So
exactly.
that's a lame excuse for me. You could even go online and start a list and start
Yeah.
checking off, okay, they won't allow X, Y, Z, they will. You could
Yeah.
do a little bit of things, or he could at least give her the green light to start
Because
getting
like she could do it.
organized.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I
I was
didn't
go-
like that.
I was gonna say too, I mean, we've seen his dogs in action, and so he should be thankful that Nicole is pressing to have all the dogs in one place. I don't know. I feel like she's been very understanding
Yeah.
given what we've seen of his dogs being so rowdy and all over the place. If anything, she might be more comfortable at home and less work because she's been taking the lead on caring for the dogs too. What
Yeah.
is going on, Chris? You got some explaining to do.
He
Mm-mm.
does. He does. Someone tweeted and they're like, oh no, he knows the crazy that he's in for, so he's not trying to do it. And I'm like, okay,
But
give,
then
give
why is
Nicole a break.
he sending mixed signals? He seems to be able to speak up when he wants what he wants any other time.
His dogs ain't the one who had to get a family member to come down and watch them for 8 weeks. So
I don't know.
anyway,
It's something there. Mm.
so okay. I don't know where to go next because this episode. Let's go to the next couple before, like everything that happened before the pageant.
Yeah. All
Okay.
right. Who
So
you want?
when
Go ahead and go.
I was gonna go with Kirsten and Shaq next.
Okay. Yeah.
So I thought it was cute when they came. First of all, their get ready rap. So do you remember at the beginning of the episode when she was
Mm-hmm.
like, "We gotta have a get ready rap," and she dropped the beat and he
Mm-hmm.
dropped bars. I was like, oh, that's really cute. They seem to have a lot of fun together. And
Hmm.
I enjoy watching Kirsten and Shaq all season. I think they've given us the most to talk about. And it
Hmm.
seems like when they're doing these activities, they genuinely enjoy doing the activities together. So
Hmm.
I think they've carried this season on their backs, quite frankly.
They have, but it is awkward for me watching their hard conversations and just the way
Yeah, we'll get
Kirsten
into
responds sometimes. So, but
yeah,
I'd agree they have carried the show. Without them
yeah.
and Eris, I don't know if there would have been much to talk about.
Yes. She definitely had on her realtor hat when she walked in. She was like, "Oh, is it? What did she say? A long extended island or whatever? Oh,
It's a
it's called
wet
a wet
room.
room, right?" I would be shocked, like, "Oh, they got the tub and the shower in there. It's a wet room." So now
Mm,
I know
mm,
that.
mm.
Thank you, Kristen, for teaching me. Um, but yeah, I just thought they were really cute. Is there
Yeah.
anything about any of the other couples that you want to say before they went into the pageant?
Yeah, so I feel like Clint, as far as Clint and Gina, is being as positive as he can. He says, "Oh, I feel like this weekend might be exactly what we need." And
Hmm.
so I don't know if he's genuine or he's just trying to lighten the mood or what, but Gina's not here for it. And we saw that a few times with her energy and just the stuff she was saying. Um, she did say that she enjoys his company
Hmm.
and can see why they're matched. Um,
Clint is a vibe. I feel
he
like
really is.
who wouldn't enjoy his company? Like, I don't think that for example, I don't think he and I would have much in common, but he seems to just make the best out of every situation that he's in. I think he's starting to like catch more feelings,
I
honestly.
think so too. He
Yeah,
wants to make it work or at least put in a real effort. And that's the difference I see between them two,
yeah,
where he's like, okay, let me stay positive. Let me work with what I have. But
yeah.
there's a wall up for her.
She's already decided.
Yeah. And she's to me been the one reminding, like, oh, we're in the friend zone. We're in the friend zone. I don't know if that's just her stating the obvious or
Yeah.
trying to reiterate to him, like, don't get any hope.
Don't catch feelings, okay?
Yeah.
So,
But yeah, that was really all
for me.
else that I had.
Oh yeah, at the beginning he said, "Oh, I would love to see a bear." I'm like, "But of course you would. You look like you would like to see a bear." Like he does. I don't know what about he gives off
Outdoorsy vibe.
exactly what he did in this episode is the vibe that he gave off to me. So
Absolutely
yeah.
insane.
You
I
know,
think, oh, go ahead.
sorry. I was gonna say, he said like, "Oh, this will be the spark," and I don't want to hear anybody saying this weekend is what we need for a spark because we have 9 days left in the process. A spark for what? What are we sparking? So that annoyed me with them, but also with Jasmine. So Jasmine kept saying stuff like, "Oh, I'm hoping," or "I'm hopeful," and I'm like, none of your sentences this late in the process need to be starting with hoping anything.
No. Yeah. And I think she's just grasping onto the little breadcrumbs that he's leaving
Mhm.
at this point. And I don't know why, because it's so late in the game. Yeah. But yeah, that
I
was pretty much all I had.
I wouldn't even be talking like that. Okay.
Mm.
So do you have so they had a pageant and what did you think about the the men's looks for the pageant?
Okay, so I think Shaq looked good, but
Yeah.
I felt it was a bit over the top
What for a pageant?
for a pageant. Yeah, yeah. I don't, maybe because I don't like stripes. I don't know.
Okay.
Not on a suit coat. But he did look nice. Um Chris was who he was.
I just remembered what he had on.
Yeah, he was who he was. He brought the comedic relief.
Mhm.
Eris, I wish he would have done without the sneakers, but
I don't
I
even
feel
remember
like,
what this man had on his feet.
yeah, but I feel like he's a sneakerhead, so that makes sense. That's his
Mhm.
vibe. And then Clint was my favorite. No shirt and all.
Really? Okay. I thought something that was very interesting is that Gina has criticized Clint this entire season. She said he doesn't have swag, even though he said he's called Senior Swag. And so she got a chance to do his hair.
Man bun. Mm-hmm.
That to you is what swag is? Like putting this man's hair in a ponytail? So
But
all this time she's been criticizing him, and I feel like her contribution wasn't much better than what he always has. That's just me though.
they're equal, but I think it was to give him a more sleek look, but it didn't really if he had a suit on, it would have looked better, but the fact that he showed up, his outfit was true to who he is. I think he should have left his hair out. I mean, just leave him be.
I don't
So,
know that I like this. Y'all let us know in the comments. Do you guys feel like Gina's contribution was contributing? Was contributing?
I,
I don't think.
and I feel like she takes every opportunity she gets to remind him, like, oh, you don't look that good. You don't have much style and
Hmm.
this or that. I mean, I'm fine with the man bun. It looked fine to me, but I think he also looks fine the way that he normally
His
looks.
hair
That's his
normal.
look.
I
I'm biased towards Clinton now, if y'all haven't can't tell.
she
Like,
made it seem like she was just like elevating him. And I'm like, I mean, it looks fine, but it's not like an elevation. It looks like Clint with his hair back, you know? Like it doesn't.
yeah.
But I'll say who I think should have won the pageant, and y'all can let us know
Mhm.
in the comments who y'all thought. But based on the the answers
Okay.
and the
Oh,
look, I thought Shaq should have won. I think Clint, it was Clint or Shaq for me. Clint because
yeah.
I do like his original style.
Hmm.
But Shaq to me looked nice and gave the best answers.
Yeah, I would say he gave the best answer. So it would be between them two.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I guess maybe Eris because he showed up in a way. I don't know. Why do you think they picked him?
I don't know. said somebody said how the man who don't even want to be married get the get the award. How did he become? But I don't know what it was. I think maybe because Jasmine wasn't one of the voters. So they were like, oh, her man's
Mm,
not, she's not here to give her input, so let's give him a bone. I don't know. I don't think it was a fair process at all. But it's just a pageant at a retreat, so it's not a big deal.
yeah, it seemed to make Jasmine happy. She has her king. She's a pageant queen.
Apparently she said on the after show that the reason why we couldn't really see the sash is because it was a birthday sash, so they had to repurpose the sash. They didn't have a sash for the pageant itself. I thought that was funny. Listen, make do with what you guys have. So two things after the pageant that I found interesting. One was with Clint because he got Mr. Outrageous and wait, outrageous and courageous or courageous and
Hmm.
outrageous? I think it was outrageous and courageous. But he was in his feelings about not winning that pageant, wasn't he?
Yeah, I feel like he shouldn't have been last place, definitely. So it
Right.
wasn't even that he didn't win. He was also last place.
They put the best ones last. That's what they did. What were they
Yeah.
voting on?
I don't know. Maybe there was more to the scenes than what we saw, and maybe the way it was cut and edited, it's
There's
affected.
no way Airris won. I'm sorry. I don't care how they edited it. There is no way that Airris was the winner. But yeah, so I thought that was funny, and he kept on talking about it. I could sense Gina like, okay, like that's enough, like get
Hmm.
over it or whatever. And she said as soon as she saw the score, I think she said this on the after party, but as soon as she saw the score, she was like, oh, I know he's not gonna let this go because
Mm.
he's in his feelings a little bit. So I thought that was funny. And then another moment that was hilarious to me was when Kirsten was like, if you were president, how would you combat the like divorce rates being
Hmm.
high? And so she was like, "Yeah, it was so great." And one of the men even said that, and one of the men even said that we should give marriage counseling. Shaq was like, that was me.
A
That was
mess.
hilarious to me.
Where is this girl's head? I don't know what is going on with her.
I'm not gonna lie. That's me sometimes. Like I'll be like, you remember that person said this? Yeah, that's
I
exactly
mean, her own husband, and it happened that night.
the same night. But that was hilarious to me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Mm,
so that was pageant stuff, and then they all went to like their own separate activities.
mhm,
Let's start with Kirsten and Shaq because I feel like their activities are always the most fun
mhm.
looking ones. Although Clint and Gina did have something fun too this time.
Yeah.
But there seemed like a lot of fun. And then they had a conversation afterwards. So, what did you think about that whole scene, the activity and the conversation after?
I was shocked that she was so nervous compared to all the other adventurous stuff that she usually does.
Hmm.
So, I don't know, that was interesting, but also enjoyed that Shaq felt very comfortable and confident, and that was his moment to feel comfortable while doing something adventurous and not being pulled to do something maybe he really wouldn't want to do.
Hmm.
Um, as far as I'll add too, I need to take a trip to Gatlinburg apparently
Right.
because they have a
Those are
lot
some
of
good
cool and stuff
activities.
going on over
Yeah.
there. And then as far as their conversation together, unless you wanted to talk about the activity.
Mm-mm.
No. Okay. So I don't know. I one of the things that I wrote down was that I think communication is clearly the big issue here.
Mhm.
But I think like sometimes Kirsten makes it seem like it's a problem and an issue, but then other times she's like, oh, well, it's not that bad. So with her, I don't know where she is because I feel like I'm getting mixed energy. And the same with him because he said something later where he's like, oh, I feel like we're making progress.
Yeah.
But then when he's with the guys, it's like, oh, it's an issue. Which
Well,
one is it?
the answer is yes. I think it's a I think it is a problem. They're never on the same page. Like remember in the beginning when he was like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, I think we're growing into intimacy," and she's like, not really." And then there was another time where she felt like they had a great week, and he was like, "It was rocky." So I feel like that's always them. And I like Kirsten and Shaq
Mm-mm.
individually. Now I can say I think I like both of them as individuals, but also together. But communication is a huge problem to have. Like, if they could just get past this and figure out how to talk to each other, I feel like they would be all set. But it's a big enough issue where it's like one person thinks we've taken 5 steps forward and the other person feels like we've taken like 10 steps back. They need to get on the same page. Um,
I do have a question.
mm,
Do you think that communication is an issue with them individually, meaning with their other relationships from what you've seen?
Probably not.
So it's just there is this pairing.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think it is just the pairing, but also to be fair, none of their other relationships are romantic relationships, and none of their other relationships are romantic relationships with a stranger. It's been
Mm,
8 weeks, almost, not even. And then for like a couple of those weeks, they weren't even really communicating because Kirsten, like had delayed that whole process. So I think it is just this pairing. I think in their own worlds, they probably have people around them who might communicate the way that they do or might
mhm.
understand their way of communication. And also, the other people in their world aren't as reliant upon their communication. Like for example, if you show up late for something and you didn't let me know or whatever, I'm just like, oh, okay, like she just ran late. Whereas if it's a significant other, it affects my day and my life differently. So
Okay.
I think it's the pairing and I think it's the nature of their relationship that makes communication hard. That's just my thought though.
One other thing I wanted to add is that regardless of what she's saying, the energy that I'm getting from Kirsten is that she is hopeful and that she does really want it to work. Shaq, on the other hand, I think it depends on the scene. Sometimes, like
Hmm.
when he said, like, oh, I feel like communication is getting better, but then other times the way that he's looking at her, I don't know.
Hmm.
And then something he said with the guys later on, we'll get to it. I'm like, is he in this?
Yeah.
I don't know. I could see him saying no.
Really? Somebody else said that on Twitter. I don't know that I see him saying no.
I feel like the dynamics have shifted, and
Mhm.
he talked about that later. Sorry, I keep referencing it, but the episode just jumped all around.
Yeah.
But some stuff he says, I'm like, I don't, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
something else going on here
Do you want to
with
just do
him.
the other couples dates and then we can go to the the part that you want to talk about?
Yeah.
Okay. So Gina, Jasmine and Airris went, I guess, to a rock climbing slash gymnastics type place,
Mm-hmm.
which looked good too. So before
Mm-hmm.
that, they had the meditation thing.
Yeah.
And honestly, if this scene would have happened 4 weeks ago, even,
Mm.
I probably would have felt more hopeful about the direction of their relationship
Okay.
because she mentioned wanting to meditate. He didn't. He went and meditated without her. He said, it honestly slipped my mind. And so she spoke up about it, which shout out to Jasmine for being more vocal and not just like taking the L. She said something about it, and then he did a whole other meditation session with her just so that, he could include her. And I thought that was really sweet. I don't think Aries is a terrible person, but I think we definitely seen some very bad parts of him this
Mm-hmm.
season, and he's definitely not a good partner. I think I can say to Jasmine, I can say that with
Mm-hmm.
confidence. So yeah, I thought that was sweet.
Yeah, I enjoyed that scene. It's like, oh, finally we get something
Yeah.
with 9 days left. But when he was saying to her, I just want you to speak up more, say something. I agree. If something's wrong, she should say something.
Yeah.
However, I wouldn't want her to be in a relationship where she's constantly having to course correct and coach a person on
Mhm.
things that are kind of basic, because that's also exhausting as well. And you can sometimes feel like, okay, am I just telling you how I feel, or am I being a complainer?
Mhm.
And so I think it just depends on what it is. If it's something that genuinely slips your mind, fine. But something like, we know you're on your phone, but you're not texting or checking in with your wife, she shouldn't have to coach you and tell you that that's a problem.
Mhm.
So I think it just depends on what it is. And she shouldn't always have to be the one to speak up. Speak up. It's like, use common sense. You should be checking in on your wife.
Oh man, but yeah, but common sense does look different per person.
I
But I
agree.
still
And if
think
he was into her, he would be using that common
that common
sense.
sense. Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
Like, I
I
don't want our girl having to come across as if she's begging or having to mother this man into how to be in a relationship with her and how to treat her. I agree, in the beginning of relationships, you're learning each other and they're still very early on. But because he's not into her, he's giving bare minimum energy. So,
Yeah, and sometimes you just want I'm all for communicating what the needs are, no
mhm.
matter what stage. I'll be like, I want this, but I do think there's everybody wants someone to think about them and do some type of like thoughtful gesture without them saying it. Like I might as well be dating myself if every single thing I gotta say to you, if every single idea I have to bring to you, and so I definitely get that.
Yeah. But yeah, that was, yeah, the activity looked fun. Jasmine looks great as usual.
She
I mean,
does. She does. She looks phenomenal.
yeah,
And
that was
then Gina and Clint.
okay.
So they had the roller coaster date. That looked fun. I
Yeah,
would
I've
love to
never
do
seen a single car roller
a roller
coaster.
coaster. Yeah, I would love
Yeah.
to do it. Maybe we should drive to
I know
Gatlinburg
it's not that far.
and get a girl
Yeah.
trip.
Yeah.
But I will say they don't. usually they don't grab my attention when they're on the screen. I feel like I look to see what they're doing, Clint and Gina,
Oh
and
yeah.
then I'm just like, oh, okay. I guess because I know she's not gonna say, like, the relationship isn't going anywhere, so they don't really keep my attention. Clint, maybe when he's on the screen by himself doing things, does get
Yeah.
my attention because I think he's funny and charismatic. But when it's just the two of them, I'd be like, okay, I could look away. I could go pop my popcorn now.
Yeah, I don't even have anything
Well,
of substance from their get together. I mean, he's trying, she's there.
yeah. Okay, so now let's do boy time. So man time and woman time. What
Yes.
what say you?
Yeah, so Clint wants to hear about the deeds that everyone is up
Because
to.
ain't nothing going on with him.
Yeah, Chris gives more information than anybody wants to know. And I could appreciate how Shaq kept it cute.
Yes.
I feel like in that moment, he knows his wife and she's not looking to have all their business on Front Street, clearly because they lied about it as long as they did.
Yeah.
So I was glad that he didn't try to brag to the boys and just do too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I appreciated that. Airris claims that he needs the spark. Okay.
And then he said something like he doesn't know what his answer is yet. Now, Eris, he's like, yeah, that's why I didn't quit the process, because if I had a cut and dry answer, then I would have just been out. But it's not that simple. It's not that simple. Like, Eris, for you it is though. Like, come on.
It is. Yeah. He claims he needs a spark. All right, whatever.
Now, Shaq.
Yeah, now Shaq, I'm just
Got them out the way.
so they get to Shaq and he says, he's basically saying that in the beginning, it was her having these walls up. This is wrong, that's wrong. She has these complaints. And now the energy is shifted to where it's like, yes, he acknowledges that they've made progress, but they need more than just the physical. Um, and this is where I feel like Shaq could potentially say no.
Okay.
Because it seems like one, he's holding on to the fact that her feelings weren't all in. And he's kind of putting it on her that we haven't made the progress that we could have because you were taking too long.
Hmm.
That's how it came across to me, that because she was feeling away and not putting forth as much effort,
Mhm.
not saying that she wasn't, maybe it was an attraction thing, I don't know, but she wasn't comfortable enough. We'll just say that is the reason why they haven't progressed as much as they have. Yes, they've moved forward physically, but for him, he needs more. And
Mhm.
I think that more is partly the communication. It's partly the fact that he hasn't met any of her family.
Yep, since the wedding.
And I think the third that he didn't say is that maybe he needs to see more in terms of her personality, what she's into, like what else is there to her.
You know,
Because I don't know this, but the first like half of the season, I kept saying, well, we don't really know her. We don't know anything about her. We're not seeing
Mhm.
her family or her friends. And if we're feeling that way, maybe he's still feeling that way. Part
Okay.
of it could be because of him not meeting the family. It could also be that other than real estate, it's like, okay, well, what else? What else is she into? What else does she like? And is there a wall up in other areas where she's kind of not fully showing herself? Um, that
I I
yeah.
think I think it's exactly what he said it is. I
Mm,
so yes, earlier in the season, and even though I think earlier in the season I still liked her, I still saw potential in her and in them, but earlier in the season we weren't seeing personality at all. To me
mhm.
as a viewer, that has changed a lot. So we always saw her personality when they did activities, so that was clear. But when they're just doing regular filming or everyday things, we weren't seeing much of a personality. And I feel like that's changed over time. just
Mm.
in my opinion. So I don't know. And since he didn't say that's an issue, and since I don't necessarily see it as too much of an issue anymore, I'm like less I'm more hesitant to say that that's what it was, but I do think the family thing
Mhm.
is messing with him a lot, and it would probably mess with me too. Like I've done everything that I need to do to make sure you're a part of my world. My god sister and my godmom, I think they were from out of
Mhm.
state. Yeah, so they came down so that you could feel a part of my world and so that you could get insight to who I am. And I'm not getting that piece. Like, and that's a major piece to not have. And our
And
communication sucks.
her family is right there.
Yeah, right.
So,
Right.
there's something yeah. I
Except
don't
his dad,
know.
because
Yeah,
she's
I don't
sensitive
know.
about him traveling. For
Yeah, I don't know why she's not bringing her family around. There's something there. Could be on her end where she doesn't feel comfortable yet,
sure.
or on their end and them not wanting to be filmed. But I think if he would have met them off, he could meet them off camera.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, yeah, I don't know. I could see him saying no. Mm.
I don't know that I could see him saying no. I think there are things
Really?
that they have to work through, but I don't know that I could see him saying no.
One other thing that he said too was,
Mhm,
I got exactly what I wanted physically.
mhm.
And so I think the other things we talked about, I know I added a little bit there, but the things that we've seen, I think are a big deal to him. When he said that, I'm like, oh, he's saying it without saying it. She's beautiful. I have everything I want in terms of looks,
Mm.
physical, we're intimate, but there's other things. And like you said, the family is a big piece, especially the fact of how she was how much she was bringing up the dad.
Well, and that's the thing. I wanted to say, okay, being close to family looks different for different people, but if you're close and I am your husband, like, or maybe she's just waiting to see how decision day goes. Like, maybe she got one foot in and one foot out. Like, okay, if she
Yes.
says no to me, at least I haven't gotten my family involved, you know?
And I could understand her communicating that to him off camera. Like, it's a big deal for my family if I bring someone around. And because we're still
Yeah.
figuring it out, I don't feel comfortable with bringing you around. But I think you have to communicate that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I think it looks worse than what it actually is.
Like, what's she hiding?
Well, yeah, that, and it makes it seem like you're more out than you are in.
hmm
And yeah.
Jasmine said something on the after party. She was like, when the girls had their meeting, which there wasn't much to me that came out of their meeting, but I think Kirsten said that she was like 50%, like she was 50-50. And Jasmine on the after party was like, but I think for Kirsten, that's good. It reminded me of Nate and Stasha, where he was like, oh, you're like what did he say, a four?
Hmm.
Or something like that. Yeah. And for him, that was like, oh no, this is a whole four. You know, we just met and you're at a four. I guess he was starting from zero, but it just reminded me of that. Like 50-50 is probably good for her at this stage. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Uh
So then the
Nicole, did we do Nicole and I know the bear thing is what came next in the show,
yeah.
but there's Clint was at home and respected the bear's territory, and that was that. He didn't get mauled. So wonderful. I was talking to a friend the other day and she was like, yeah, because bears don't even eat humans. And I was like, but they can still kill me. Like the
Yeah.
fact that, oh, they killed me and they left me there. They didn't consume me. Oh, that makes me feel so much better. Like, cool. But
I will say if I was one of the people on this trip, I would have been irritated with him because if we're on a group trip, don't
put
do
yourself
super.
at risk.
Yeah, because then you could just ruin everyone's trip. Now we got to get you to the hospital. We got to call your parents. Like, d- don't bring that kind of stress in my life. If we're on
Yeah.
a group trip, keep your adventurousness down. Like, we just need to get you back safe, and
Yeah.
you can take a solo trip and you can go hang with the
Hang out with a
bears.
bear. Exactly.
But don't be ruining our good time because you want to take risk. No.
That is so funny.
Mm-mm.
I think after Beargate is when Chris did the notes for Nicole, so I thought that was really sweet. She seemed to really enjoy it. Yeah,
I wish you would have taken that time though to look at apartments or houses or something.
you got time to handwrite some notes? Okay. How about
You
typing new places to live into Google?
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, and that's where the mixed energy is coming from.
Hmm.
I don't know. It is what it is. She
Okay.
seemed to like it, so that's cool.
Cool. So Clint said something. Sorry, I don't remember what time this happened, but he said something
Mhm.
about, yeah, we've had our ups and downs. And I was just like, I don't think we've seen ups and downs for them. Like we've seen downs and then they like stabilized and they've been like maybe a straight line since. But I don't think we've seen like ups, plural, you know,
No, they're
like
coasting.
stagnant.
Yeah. Something that Gina said though when she was with the ladies and their
Mhm.
sit down was that Dr. Pepper said to focus on loving deeper like a friend. And I don't remember Dr. Pepper saying that. Gina, don't be lying on Dr. Pepper's name. That is
Okay.
not what
Dr.
she
Peppers.
Peppers. Yeah. She talked about creating more intimacy and
Yes.
taking it to the next level. Just lying. Just
Maybe she said it off camera. We can't, but based on all the other things she said, she was like, this is not, a friendship or
yeah,
whatever.
this is not a friendship. She said the opposite.
Yeah.
So I don't know if she was saying that to send a message to the girls of, hey, this is where we're at. Nicole, don't dig deeper. Don't try it.
Gina also hears what she wants to hear. So I wouldn't put it past her to, I'm sure she believes that's what Dr. Pepper said.
Oh gosh. Okay, yeah, that
um,
that was all I had from the
okay.
girls sit down. Yeah. Oh
And
wait, Jasmine said that she feels like they're in a better place. That
I
was one thing.
I'm not playing with Jasmine. I love her, but anyway, Aris
Mm,
has to leave for a trip, so he leaves. And then are we finally at the group? No, he doesn't leave yet. The group dinner is where.
Yeah, he was there.
How did you feel about Aris at the group?
Actually, did he come back or did no?
No,
Did
no,
he
no. The
leave?
group dinner was before that.
Oh, you're
And she
right.
left on her own. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, so what were your thoughts on Eris uplifting Jasmine at this dinner and talking about how he appreciates her?
I was here for part of it. The part that I was here for is that he's publicly acknowledging, where he could have done things better. He's apologizing. So I was happy that he did that publicly because I feel like early on he did a lot and said a lot in front of the guys about the lack of attraction and the this or that. So I appreciated that he kept that same energy in front of everyone in terms of where areas where he could have done better. The part that I wasn't here for was him praising her strength for sticking around.
That's it.
Eh,
It
he
just
could have
it
left that part out.
there's never a good way to do that. Like it's like when those men have taken like forever to get their act together and they've like cheated on their wives and dogged them out and they're like, and she stayed with me but she didn't have to and she did and I owe it all to her. It's like honestly just leave that part out. Just and then she's over there tearing up and wiping her eyes. I'm like, Jasmine, no, it's not like
So when she said I finally feel seen, I think that's why she was tearing up.
mm,
Almost maybe in terms of feeling validated in that he was doing it in front of everyone. I don't know that she was crying and that she was just so sentimental about it. I just got that okay, he's acknowledging his wrong. I'm hoping that's why she was crying.
the way I would have reserved my tears until I knew for sure. I would have been like, dry up. You can't cry right now.
Yeah,
But
he's like, "Oh, I salute you. I congratulate you."
I'm glad he's saying nice words to her, bare minimum. But I guess I'm glad he's saying nice. I'm
She
glad.
shouldn't have to be strong in this way. You should have just done better from the beginning. Apologize, acknowledge that you were wrong,
Mhm.
even saying that you appreciate her decorum and how she's handled herself. Leave it at that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. At least until you start doing better. Like until you start giving us something that we can.
Also, something else I thought about, and maybe I'm just being too glass half full. Y'all tell me in the comments, but
Okay.
I I think too, him doing it publicly was also maybe a way of him saving his image, in that just the way he has been perceived, not maybe to the people who were there, but even just us as an audience. Like, yeah, I've done some things, but I also have some redeeming aspects to
Hmm.
myself. So I'm not saying for sure that I know that. I think
Yeah.
he probably did want to apologize, but I also think too, just him doing it in front of everyone kind of lifts him higher than maybe how he was viewed up until this point. And Nicole took it
Okay.
that way too.
I don't know. I Eris doesn't strike me as someone who's doing anything to get any like good looks. So just
So
like even have
I'm reaching.
I feel that way. I think it was genuine. Okay, I'll say this. I think Eris is genuine in whatever he's feeling. If it's bad, he's genuine in that feeling. If it's good, he's genuine in that feeling. So he doesn't strike me as somebody who would do something just to like raise his, his
Image.
reputation amongst other people. Yeah. So I feel like it wasn't strategic, but Nicole definitely did take it. And I thought it was funny because she's like, wow, he definitely went up in my book. Girl, what does your book matter? Worry about Chris not living in the same house as you. Like, it was just the way that she said it, like she was the teacher and he was the most improved student or something. It was just so funny to me seeing her do that.
Yeah, I think it could have been a little bit of both. I think it was genuine, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was a little bit of like, okay, well, let's do this publicly, and yeah.
Interesting. The
Mhm.
other thing that happened in the dinner, which the edits made it seem like it wasn't going to go this way, or the previews made it seem like it wasn't
Mm.
going to go this way. But Kirsten says, where she feels like they are in their relationship and talks about needing grace, which I was surprised that so many people were Team Kirsten last week's episode because I feel like I've been fighting all season to see the good in Kirsten. and,
Yeah.
and nobody else has seen it. But no, she was saying that she needs like grace in the relationship. And I liked his response, like your feelings are valid and I love it. So I appreciate that that was the reaction and not like the clip that really came from earlier that they mashed together to make it seem like he had a problem with her saying that.
Yeah. Yeah, those two are interesting. She was a self-proclaimed picky person, and so was he. So
Mhm.
I don't know.
I hope they work.
We'll see if he's able to give her that grace that she needs.
You know what I think would keep him from doing that? If he holds on to the beginning too hard. Because he could easily be like, well, I started out giving all this grace and it took you so long. So I hope that that's not something he's holding on to.
I think he might still be in his feelings about that a
I think
bit.
I
I
like
think
the
that plus how she handled maybe the whole like canceling of the trip. It's never just one thing, but I
yeah.
don't know. I think the fact that he brought that up again
Hmm.
tells me that he's still feeling something about that. He even compared them to Chris and
That's
Nicole.
I ooh. The way
So
I hate comparisons. Do not compare our relationship to anybody else's.
he was
That
like, "Oh, we could be ahead of them. Like you don't even know where they are."
because I bet y'all are gonna live in the same house after this. Like, and even if that's where they are, and like, there's no, oh, we're up here and they're down here. There's more of, okay, we all have our unique situations and we're trying to navigate them. Like, so yeah.
He's holding on to something there.
Speaking of Shaq, when they did this 80s party, Shaq was definitely in the wrong decade. And obviously so. Like he cannot say, I want to know if he really felt like he was in the 80s with the hair and clothing. Because it was definitely giving 70s vibes to me.
Yeah, the afro should have been long gone. He should have had some Jerry curl juice dripping.
Right. You need to watch Coming to America and see how they looked, where they had the skinny jeans with the big old like sneakers,
Mm-hmm.
the mom jeans with the sneakers like that. That's he needed more inspiration. But I feel like everybody else looked pretty good. Clint and Gina. Clint will commit to a theme. Okay.
He even had the eyeliner going on. I mean, to me, they had the best like combo look.
Yeah. And then second, Nicole and Chris.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it looked like it was a good time. And yeah, they look like they had fun. It was their birthdays. I don't know if their birthdays are the same day, but
Clint
that,
and
Nicole.
Nicole, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Why am I forgetting names today? But yeah, that's all that we have for this episode. Let us know in the comments who do y'all think should have won the pageant. um, that's what I want to know. But no,
Yeah.
and of course you can comment on anything else. We do have a new podcast episode coming out tomorrow. So if you listen to podcasts on Apple Podcasts, Google, Spotify, we are
Mm-hmm.
there, Girlfriends and Ghosts podcast. But we'll also upload the episode here so that you can watch it. All
Yep.
right, we'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.